Welcome back to the house that Ross built. Today, we're going to be talking about a issue that's actually, very relevant today in today's market. We're going to be talking about some strategies and some good investments that you can do now in this market that we're currently in, especially if you're a real estate investor or in the real estate market. It's kind of slow, so some other tips and strategies that you can do to invest in other things that'll keep your cash flow coming in. Very important topic. I've been talking about this to some other colleagues, some other investors over the last, several weeks. So, and these are the things that I'm doing, so I'm just telling you what I'm doing and what other people tell me they're doing, so on and so forth, but mostly what I'm doing. So the first thing I would say is crypto. Not everybody's invested in crypto or understands, the whole crypto situation. But right now, it's growing. Right, it's going up. I think Bitcoin hit 120 plus thousand the other day, and some of the other smaller stocks are going up. So the thing about crypto is, it goes up. Kind of more like the stock market. It goes up for a week or a few days, and so you got to be on it. So you got to be, investing, cashing out your profits, so on and so forth. So crypto is definitely a good avenue right now. Whether you're, I suggest if you want to, and with crypto, it's like you're either doing a cash flow, so you're going in, investing. A couple days it goes up, you take your profits out, and then you reinvest in another one, or you reinvest in that same one, or you can do long term, just like a stock. You can leave it in there, and it'll go up and down. The only thing about that is it's a long term. So if you're in cash flow needs, you need to get in and get out, on a every couple days, every few days, or a weekly basis. So that's one, the crypto. The other one is, and I talked about this on one of the last podcasts, is rental properties. So you can go in and buy properties, right, and get rental and make rental income. That's a good way right now to kind of curve that cash flow issue if you're having one, which investors nowadays, a lot of us are having those. So go in and buy rental properties. You can buy them for really low now because it is a buyer's market. So you can go in and buy it, fix it up. Also when you're borrowing the money, you can borrow a little extra on the rehab, so you can put a little money in your pocket. You also can pay your investors out, so that's a good way. What I do is, say the rehab cost me 60 grand. I'll borrow 75. That way, I have enough to pay my guys, and then because I'm managing the project, pay yourself a salary, so you're paying yourself, like 10%, or if it's a fixed amount, 10, $15,000 for managing the project, which is totally only up and up. If you have a lender, they understand how that works. You're paying yourself a salary as a project manager. That's another way to have cash flow. I also, in my properties, I do that a lot, like I said, because it is cash flow. And then also, if you have an issue with the property and you need a little more money, that's also there. So it's two reasons to do that, to borrow a little extra, especially if you're going to rent it out and you're going to pay it off. Once all the rental is done, you're going to refinance the loan to a more traditional loan. So that's another way to do it, the rental property. So right now we got crypto, we got rental property. Also, a big one is that I do is day trading, right? Day trading is definitely a cash flow uh, strategy that a lot of people don't take advantage of, but it could be a lot of cash flow, especially if you're doing it right. And you've seen our guy JR on the podcast several times. If you want to learn more about that, you can go. He teaches people how to do day trading. He calls it flipping stocks, but day trading, which can generate, up to, a couple $1,000s a week in cash flow. So obviously you got to learn how to do it. There's a little learning curve there, but it's definitely a very, very good avenue for cash flow. Again, day trading. So basically, what day trading is you get in, that morning, you invest in a stock, you find out what a good stock that's gonna that you think would go up, and that's based on the strategies and all that. I'm not gonna get into all of that. If you are a day trader, you already know what I'm speaking about. If not, like I said, get with my man JR, flipthatstock.com, and he can, teach you. Obviously, there's a price for his program, but it's definitely well worth it. You can make the money back from what you're paying and for the program, in a couple days once you learn the strategy. So again, day trading is you go in, you buy a stock that morning, you watch it, maybe for usually about 30 minutes to an hour, and you invest a certain amount, and you can get that cash flow back based on the strategy, and within the 30 minutes to an hour. So again, it doesn't take a lot of time. You can make, like I said, anywhere from 100 to $500 a day. doing that, which is great cash flow. So those are the three strategies that I suggest right now that we do as investors in this market that's kind of, you know, some people say it's a down market, recession, so on and so forth. But either way, we know it's slow, right? Because everybody is afraid of what's going on with politically, right? Everybody's unsure what's going to happen. So a lot of people are scaling back. They're holding on to their money to see what happens. So when we're investors, especially in real estate, that affects us, a lot. Affects us a lot. So we always have to come up with different strategies, adapt and adjust all the time. That way, we're always, creating that cash flow, making money, growing our business, right? Also, another tip, and this is not necessarily an investment tip, but a strategy: get out and network more. Network and try to partner up with other people that are doing projects. You can make money that way. You gotta get out there and network, market your business more. In down times, people think, I'll scale back on my marketing, but actually, what you want to do in times that are slow, you want to increase marketing, right? So you can do what I do with some of my properties. That's another strategy. As I'm talking, I'm thinking of other strategies that I've been doing. Wholesaling, right? If you're in real estate and you have properties that maybe you don't want to do right now, you can wholesale them. Basically, sell them to another investor. Make 5, 10 grand off of that. That's another great avenue for cash flowing. But also that takes a skill set. So you'd already have to be involved in learning how to do wholesaling. Also, like we have a product, myfirsthouseflip.com. You can go there. We teach people strategies through our online platform, our Zoom call, so on and so forth. So we teach people how to make money, again, like I'm talking about in down markets. We teach people how to do wholesaling and different strategies and tips for that. So wholesaling is another great one, but again, that takes a specific skill set that you should already have, or if you want to learn, like I said, myfirsthouseflip.com, you can go there and sign up for our program, and we can teach you how to do wholesaling, which again, within 30, 45 days, you can make back your money and make a whole bunch of cash flow in the meantime as you're going. So, because there's always going to be investors out there that are buying. Right now, most investors are buying and they're renting out properties because it's a buyer's market, so it's hard to sell. So you get a good deal on the buy because it's a buyer's market, but on the sell, you're not gonna. It's gonna be tough to sell. It's gonna take you a long time. Again, it depends on the market you're in. But if a lot of investors are buying right now because they're getting in low and they're renting the properties out. So if you find properties that you can't do that are a good price, you can offload them to another investor. You can sell them to other investors. So those are some. I'll recap. We have crypto. We have day trading. We have wholesaling, and we also have when you're doing your properties. If you're managing your properties, you can get paid, pay yourself a salary from that. So there's a few different strategies there. I'm sure there's more. If anybody wants to put in some strategies that they've been using, to create cash flow in this market, definitely feel free. We definitely would appreciate that. Help out the other listeners. And stay tuned. We're going to be talking more about this. Getting more involved in how to create that cash flow and just, watch the markets as they change because they're going to keep changing over the next year or two. So they're going to go up, they're going to go down, they're going to go up, they're going to go down, which, that's the reason why we have to create that cash flow because it's tough for us to, be able to maintain and build our business if it's, if we're in an unpredictable market or our cash flow is unpredictable. So again, check us out on myfirsthouseflip.com or flip that stock if you're interested in some of those strategies that we just talked about. And just stay tuned. Again, we're here to help. We're here to help other folks continue to support our program. Like I said, leave comments, subscribe, so on and so forth. Again, the house that Ross built, we're here. We're here to help. We're here to help build. We're here to help make our community better. Peace.